I've been thinking a lot about launches over the past week. This is largely due to the launch of the Artemis II rocket and its ongoing lunar flyby mission, which has captivated not only the US, but also millions of people across the globe. However, while I could geek out about rocket launches with the best of the moon mission nerds, there are a couple of health-related launches that have also caught my attention and will be the focus of this week's episode. First up is the launch of HayloARC, a health-focused demand-side platform, better known as a DSP. HayloARC is available for use by advertisers and medical marketing agencies seeking to better interface with HCPs and patients. To accomplish this, HayloARC utilizes first-party HCP data derived from 30-plus medical publications owned by Haymarket Media, the parent company of MM+M. For the conversation this week, editor-at-large Steve Madden sits down with Louis Namoli, VP of Programmatic Business Development and Strategy at Haymarket. The two of them discuss what HayloARC is, how it's differentiated from other DSPs, and what it offers programmatic buyers in the medical marketing space. Then, during our trend segment, we're talking about how the fight for GLP-1 supremacy between Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly has shifted to the oral obesity pill battlefield.
Hey, Louis, welcome to the MM+M podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
Tell me, what is HayloARC all about?
Yeah, so HayloARC is our new self-service DSP platform. This is an idea and a project that we've been dreaming up and working on for a number of years. It's the next kind of iteration or future product state of the Halo business that's been around for almost 9 years now. And we kind of took on this project and this endeavor to take our existing business line, which is all a collection of omni-channel managed service media products, and create this new platform that's powered by the same data ecosystem and expertise that we have on the media side into a new self-service tool so that clients and agencies and brands can actually utilize Haymarket's and Halo's valuable first-party audience ecosystem to manage and traffic their own digital advertising campaigns now.
The fact that Haymarket would produce a tool like this is a little bit of a no-brainer given the company's audience. Tell me a little bit about where you draw the audience from for the product.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Halo is built on the first-party ecosystem of data that is sourced directly from Haymarket's 30-plus endemic properties. Haymarket is collecting user registration data across all of those individual properties.
And those properties include things like, rare disease advisor and oncology advisor, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those just to name a few. And those are endemic properties specifically for HCPs that they're coming back to for clinical information, where we're able to actually create and foster that kind of direct relationship with that audience. And that truly, I think, is one of the things that makes Halo very unique and differentiated in the market, is that we're the only healthcare DSP born directly out of a publisher or an endemic HCP publisher. So we foster that direct connection with the audience, with the HCPs that are coming back for our content. And now Halo uses or utilizes that ecosystem of HCPs to power our framework and our experience as well.
And we have about 3 million HCPs in the ecosystem, right?
Yeah, it's about 3.1 million.
So it's a good cashment and it's a good draw.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got a very healthy, very select audience. What exactly does ARC do, and who do you think is the primary audience for using your brand new shiny tool?
Yeah. So today, the initial concept and the initial product that we're launching today, what clients or customers are able to do is build out custom audiences of the specific HCPs or patient profiles that they're looking to reach, and then set up or manage digital programmatic advertising campaigns on channels that include like display, online video, CTV, digital out of home. So that's kind of the initial use case of the platform, is to give clients one single tool where they can build their campaigns, manage their campaigns, create their custom audiences, and get impact reporting or outcomes measurement for all of those campaigns in one kind of end-to-end platform. The goal from there is to kind of expand the different channels including incorporating Haymarket's endemic properties, be it our websites or our emails, and then looking to some other channels as well, like EHR, point of care, so that our big goal or the main idea of having a DSP platform is to give clients a very easy way to facilitate any type of digital advertising buys for their kind of hands-on keyboard teams, or that connect into their internal buying platform so that they can kind of electronically actually manage campaigns within their systems that get set up, delivered, managed within our platform as well. So it's just an ecosystem.
You said you've been wanting to build this for quite a while. Why now?
Yeah, it's a great question. This is something, my background, just not to bore you too much, I come from the ad tech world before I started at Haymarket. I worked at a number of various different DSPs in my time pre-Haymarket. And when we started to kind of rebuild Halo, introduce new channels, new features, new products, the one thing we were always kind of missing was the ability to give clients something that they could buy or utilize themselves to traffic campaigns, that self-service platform. And over the last several years, definitely during COVID and the post-COVID kind of changes, DSPs and self-service DSPs have been really seen a massive amount of growth in terms of adoption by both agencies and brands directly that are spending money and investing in building out programmatic businesses and practices, because it gives the agencies and clients a lot more control and transparency over their media dollars, and can put those media dollars and make them more effective by taking on more of that control. So we're really just meeting the market's demand right now.
Louis, tell me a little bit about ease of use of the product.
Yeah, this is something we kind of obsessed over, myself and the development team and engineers that helped me design and bring this to life. Part of my frustration, part of taking client feedback and even our internal ad ops teams that are used to using DSPs, a lot of the frustration that we hear is around the complexity of what it takes, the amount of time it takes, the amount of steps or forms or fields that you have to fill in to actually set up a digital advertising campaign can be very burdensome. And every DSP is a bit different in the bells and whistles or the fields and requirements. So we kind of took our collective knowledge and experience with DSPs and tried to really streamline that, trying to make HayloARC a bit more effective and efficient for teams, so that they're not spending as much time on that the campaign setup, so that they can spend more of their time focusing on optimizations and making the most of their investments.
And what about reporting data? How quickly did they get it?
Yeah, so all of that's available directly within the platform. We have like our standard campaign reporting, which is typically like your campaign metrics, your clicks, your impressions, your spend. All of that stuff is updated in near real time as the campaigns are going. We provide daily physician level data reporting, which is that one-to-one individualized reporting for HCP advertisers. That's delivered on a day lag. So you're getting it daily from everything that happened yesterday. And then we also have outcomes data, which includes like prescription metrics, like new prescriptions, total prescriptions, new to brand prescribers, all of that kind of outcomes data, which is powered by our strategic partners at Purple Lab. That's available on a daily lag too.
Sounds like it would be extremely useful for a medical marketer. So we're recording this on Wednesday, April 1st. The product launched on Monday, the 30th. What's the response been so far? Yeah,
it's been incredible. Thankfully, we've gotten a ton of great feedback from the market from this initial launch. While we did officially announce it this week, I've been working on the commercial side to start to initiate early conversations with customers, potential customers, to start to get early feedback and help get the information that our development team needs to start to create enhancements and feature improvements for the future. And then, interestingly enough, we've also been able to get some internal testing. So our internal ad operations teams that manage our existing Halo business have been able to use and start to pressure test the platform for us as well, and gotten great feedback and some really helpful user experience information that we're using to help create and guide the future of the product.
So this stuff moves like, at the speed of light, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you just birthed this product, and I know how hard that can be. But what does 2.0 of ARC look like?
Yeah, that's is a great point. And that's something that I've been talking a lot with the development team on this. It's like, yes, we're going to launch this product. We've got our day one product, but we're never going to stop working. The landscape is constantly changing from the time that we started building 12 months ago to today, even. The impacts of AI and market dynamics are changing already. So we've been able to kind of take that as we go. As things are changing, we're starting to plan out future iterations of the platform, future like feature enhancements, so that we're always going to be kind of building and updating and ensuring that we have the most robust suite of tools for our customers.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about AI, because after all, it works its way into every single conversation we have about anything. What is HayloARC's view into AI? Have you done anything to? Are there enhancements that are done by AI, and are there any sort of protections against the bad stuff that we associate with AI, like hallucinations?
Yeah, I think that's something that we have been actively working on and talking about, the way to best incorporate and work with AI, both in the platform and in the platform development side of things. Some early stage things that we're already testing and talking about for near term kind of enhancements or releases is using AI to kind of replicate the standard campaign setup or standard ways that customers are using the platform, the way they're managing campaigns, the types of campaigns, to build AI agents that we've already been testing that can start to replicate this and save clients even more time. And obviously this is optional. Customers don't have to opt into this. They don't have to use this. But we're looking at AI as a kind of time saving and efficiency play, specifically. But then we're also already looking at some kind of optimization features that we can use AI for incorporating strategies and campaign management strategies, really, to help maximize certain outcomes, whether it be prescription measurement, whether it be campaign performance, like clicks, reach, things like that. So there's a lot of different use cases that we're already working on or have already incorporated. And I think from there, the entire programmatic industry is having lots of discussions right now about agents on both the buy side and the sell side. So our team, myself included, and our development team are paying close attention to this so that we can kind of adapt to our customers' uses of AI and the way that they're going to be kind of incorporating agent-based buying into their agency plans. The nice thing about being a kind of a startup within this space right now is that we're super flexible. We're looking to really be a boutique solution. We're a very lean team. We're very quick to adapt. So we're really excited to start to understand how clients want to incorporate AI and how they're using it at their agencies or their companies, so that we can work with them to kind of incorporate that into their use of our platform. You
use the word efficiency a lot in that answer. That's really what this tool is all about, right?
Yeah, right now, at least. Current version, I've obsessed over efficiency, because whether it's internal users, our own campaigns, or whether it's client campaigns or client investment dollars, like, you want to make the most of not only just your money, but your team's time. If they're spending too much time on repetitive tasks that they could be using to do more valuable work, that's what we want people to feel when they're using our platform. To use our chief digital officer's words, we want to delight the customers and make them excited to be using our tool, whether if they're doing it directly in our platform or whether we're connecting into their systems. The goal is efficiency.
So, Louis, if somebody wants a demo, a product demo, what's the best course of action here?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me directly. I feel like my name, phone number, and email is blasted all over the internet right now in our press release. Or you could check out our website, which is HayloARC.com. And there's a schedule demo button in the top right corner.
Awesome. Well, Louis, thanks very much, and congratulations on the launch. I know that you've been working on this for a really long time, and I'm very happy for you that it's finally been launched. I'm also happy for HaymarkET, because I think we'll all prosper from it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Louis.
For trends, we are talking about the week that was in the oral GLP-1 space, and it was going to be such a good week for Novo Nordisk. That was the only GLP-1 story that we had planned out, was their story that you wrote, Matt. And why don't we start there, and then we can talk about the Lilly cannonball of it all. But you talked with the folks at Novo. They had a big announcement literally a week ago.
I don't know. I think it was, despite what Lilly came out with, I think it was still a great week for Novo. They came out with a prescription program, a subscription program for their prescriptions, that would allow people via, some online pharmacies to, get deeply discounted prescriptions for their weight loss meds. And lower prices definitely helps with accessibility. So I think it was a good week for them. But then, more than 10 days early, I think we were expecting some sort of announcement from the FDA on April 10th, and it came out much earlier that, Lilly's oral therapy was approved.
Foundeo
was approved, and that's going to make a big impact.
And as we talked about on our Slack channel, the fact that one of the things that differentiates it as compared to the oral version of Wegovy is that you can take it any time of day. It doesn't have to be something that you take with food or any of the sort of stuff that relates to Wegovy. So that's a differentiator there. I agree with you that it was a good week, all things considered, for Novo, because they're trying to obviously build on the momentum that they've had for the oral Wegovy prescription, which I think the last I saw has been written out like 600,000 times since it launched at the start of the year. So that's still a great thing. But Lilly coming in there, again, 10 days early. I talked with their chief brand officer, Lena Polameni, the next day. I mean, they are ready to go just full charge ahead with everything in terms of the marketing and the rollout. By the time you're listening to this, you can already get it on Lilly Direct. Like, they are ready to make Foundeo as much of a household name as you've seen with Mounjaro and Zepbound. And it's just like the train keeps rolling down the tracks.
Well, they knew it was coming. The phase 3 trials were so strong.
Yeah.
It was all but a layup, that they were going to get it approved. So they had plenty of time to get that train ready.
Lesha, I want to bring you in because obviously Lilly gets that approval. They go gangbusters. I think the stock went up like 5% in the immediate hour after that happens. What did you make of all that? Again, it wasn't unexpected, but it was certainly something that it's great to be Lilly and Novo. Then they started kind of getting in a little bit of a war of words about the difference between the oral Wegovy and Foundeo. What'd you make of what followed there?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is all just like underscores the fact that Eli Lilly has really become like a marketing machine. And that's also kind of behind the fact that it became the world's first $1 trillion pharma company at the end of 2025. And, Novo has attempted to kind of catch up marketing wise. Like, they put out their Super Bowl ad for the Wegovy pill this year. And, I saw you link to that Instagram post. Novo's EVP of US operations, shortly after the Lilly pill was approved, Novo was like, we want to clear up some misinformation, misleading claims that the Lilly pill is more effective than our pill. And they're kind of taking a defensive approach marketing wise now, which I'm not sure if that's going to necessarily change people's minds or turn the tides in their favor. So I think Lilly is just like proving once again to be like a really effective marketing machine. I also think Lilly has become a brand that people know even beyond GLP-1s. And Novo really has kind of stuck in that GLP-1 space, but Lilly has really diversified, I think, more so than Novo. So
I want to go back to the Instagram story though, because like we put out the story, so they got approved right around noon on April 1st. And then so Lilly has their whole press release, and obviously, again, they were anticipating it comes sooner than they expected. Boom, you're able to put it out in the world. But Novo, within the hour, reached out to us and we're like, hey, we have a statement from our EVP. They put out that Instagram post. Like, what did you make of them? Like, obviously, they were chomping the bit too, where it's like, once we know that Lilly gets that approval, we're coming out there and saying, hey, like, let's take a time out and not mischaracterize what the Wegovy pill is about. What did that mean to you, Lesha?
I mean, it's clear that they're just like trying to take a defensive approach and putting out those statements, hoping to, I guess, soften the blow a little bit. But I don't know how effective that approach is. Like, I think Lilly has already proven to be the clear winner in this race at the moment. And I don't know if them putting out statements about like misleading claims about Lilly's pill is necessarily going to make a dent in anything. But
maybe they can air that Super Bowl ad for the 250,000th time that I've seen it since it launched. I'm curious too, just from asking you guys, and Matt, maybe you can start. What do you think of the name Foundeo? I saw that come across and I was like, oh, okay, it's like a daily pill. Like that kind of makes sense.
I don't know. There is actually a science and a logic and an art to naming drugs. I don't understand it.
I don't want to.
They all sound kind of silly to me, but more than the name, what I'm appreciating here, I love a hockey fight, and I think we've got a hockey fight between these two pharma titans, and it's really fun. It's really fun to watch them go at each other like this. But the edge is definitely like Lesha said, the edge definitely goes to Lilly because they've got so much momentum, and really importantly, when your company's worth $1 trillion, that gives you a lot of capital to play around with. And the rich are going to continue to get richer. The CEO of Novo did an interview with the Financial Times over the weekend. And he said that, look, we've barely scratched the surface of what we can do with these therapies internationally. And there's a huge market for it in India, and basically in the BRIC countries. And the issue is if distribution, the actual distribution of the drug, of the therapy is important, then, advantage Lilly here because, Foundeo is, essentially shelf stable where, because it's a chemical versus peptides, which need to be kept cold. So you need a secure, supply chain. So it's going to be easier to get it out into remote parts of countries, if it's shelf stable. So that's what Novo is going to need to come up with next.
And Lesha, I want to ask you that too, because I think there is an argument that people in this metaphor you talk about of it being a hockey fight, that there could be a benefit for consumers. You have two of these leading pharma companies with two of these extremely popular products that are no longer just constrained, I guess you can say, to being injectables. Now they can be pill form. I have to imagine that changes the dynamic, at least in terms of who's going to be able to access these things, the insurance conversation. Like, where do you see that dynamic playing out going forward? And that's before we even talk about, we're likely to get other entrants, if not by the end of the year, certainly in the next couple of years. But what do you make of that situation for consumers?
Well, I mean, I think both Eli Lilly and Novo have already, put out cheaper versions of their drugs for that purpose. Steve mentioned that he covered Novo's new, platform for that. I'm also like this is slightly off topic, but I'm also interested to see how this race is going to result in like these treatments being used beyond weight loss and diabetes. And they're finding so much evidence that it can reduce inflammation, that it's good for heart disease, that it could potentially treat addiction and substance abuse issues. And I think which company kind of does that research and develops these drugs for different things is also going to be an interesting thing to watch in the future. Like, which one is going to win that race?
And again, I would put my money on Lilly just because they're obviously they've already got the indication for sleep apnea. They're looking at it for liver disease, for dementia and Alzheimer's, for addiction, for all these sorts of things. I would have to think that just
cognitive decline.
Exactly. Like, they're already so far ahead in that space. Yeah. Like, I would put my money on Lilly, not discounting what Novo's doing, but no. And it's the question I keep coming back to is Novo's had first mover status on the injectable, on the pill, and then they get lapped by Lilly. And it's at what point are you just damn, I'm not even keeping up in this race?
Yeah, I don't know. But, like Lesha said, Lilly's done a really good job of branding itself. Their tagline is, a medicine company.
Yeah. And
so Lilly is known beyond just the GLP-1 space, and they do a lot of other stuff. And that explains the $1 trillion valuation. And I'll come back to that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that kind of capitalization gives you a lot of funding to do research and to expand. And you're not going to be $1 trillion on any one single product or any one single therapy. So they're doing a lot of different stuff. It's a diversified medicine company, which is hugely advantageous for them.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is that, Fitz, you've probably seen this meme where it's from Mad Men, where Don Draper's in the elevator and he's talking to Ginsburg, and Ginsburg's like, I feel sorry for you. And Draper's like, I don't think about you at all. Like, that's kind of what it's turning into a little bit, where it's like Lilly no longer just exists on this plane of being a pharma company. It's like they're in the category of like Apple, Walmart, Nvidia. Like, it is truly something different, where they're, to your point, and they tout it every time I talk to them. They're like, oh yeah, we've been doing research into diabetic treatments for 15, 20 years, and now it's really paying dividends. You can only imagine the seeds that they're going to be.
The Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Their Alzheimer's therapy, where they said, like, we've been doing this for 30 years. You know, that's a long time to be in any one business.
Exactly. I mean, and it almost bankrupted Biogen when it didn't work out years ago. And Lilly's like, oh yeah, this is just like not a nice to have, but it's like, it's in conjunction with their GLP-1 offerings and everything else they have in the marketplace. It's really incredible.
So Lilly is the Ty Domi here of, is that too deep a cut for you, John?
I mean, off air, he went with Les Nessman. I'm
sorry.
That'll be for some listeners.
Ty Domi is one of the greatest hockey fighters ever. So
okay,
sorry. You can cut that outfit.
No, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that in for the audience. I think once we get to the Ty Domi part of the conversation, that's probably where we can wrap. So
I will say though that it was, you know, Lilly went live. No, sorry, Novo went live on the 31st, and then Lilly comes out on the 1st. It's almost like they knew it was coming, or they accelerated or something, just so that they could, you know, suck more air out of the space.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah,
I'll let you determine who's Tom and who's Jerry. But I think we're going to wrap there. This has been a wonderful episode. Be sure to tune into next week's episode. We have a wonderful surprise guest that we'll have on the podcast, along with some other great discussion. Take care, everyone. The MM+M podcast is produced by Bill Fitzpatrick, Gordon Thaler, Lesha Bushek, and Jack O'Brien. Rate, review, and follow every episode wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to check out our website, mmm-online.com, for the top news stories on the pharmaceutical industry and medical marketing agencies.